Alrighty, welcome one and all to the March edition of the SCO 2017 webinar series. I want to thank all of you for being here. As always, my name is Mike McKeever. I'm the admissions officer for the college. We're going to do things a little bit different today. We have a special guest, Ms. Cindy Garner. She's the Director of Financial Aid here at SCO, and I think this is an important topic, especially at this time of year when most of the accepted students are starting to get ready to move to Memphis and start school and kind of getting things in order. And I think one of the most important things to get in order is your finances. So we're going to be talking about how to finance your education at SCO during this session. Before we get started and before I send things over to Ms. Garner, just want to tell you that if you have any questions during the session, just feel free to ask them via the little question box there and your taskbar there on the side of the screen. And after the presentation, we will make sure we have ample time to answer those questions. So I see a lot of familiar names in here, and so welcome to the ones that have attended the webinars before, and so there's some new names in there as well. So welcome to you as well. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Cindy Garner, who's the Director of Financial Aid at SCO. Take it away, Cindy.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. This is just going to be an overview of financial aid at SCO and topics that will get you ready for starting school in the fall. Now, the agenda is how do you apply for financial aid, how much can you borrow per year at SCO, what types of aid do we have, and when do I get my money? Now, to apply for financial aid, you'll get an email from our office with 3 forms that you need to complete, and then you can either fax them to us, mail them, or email them. Any of those is a great way to get it to us. And then there's online information that you need to complete also. The first one is the FSA ID, and both students and parents have to have one of these in order to e-sign your FAFSA, so make sure you get that. And then you'll do your FAFSA online and your master promissory note and then your entrance counseling all online. How much aid can you borrow? This year the tuition will be $35,919 for non-regional students and $18,120 for regional students. We also have the fees here and the books and equipment and then living expenses. As you can see, the living expenses are for 8 months only because you're only in school from September through April. And we include $1,475 in your budget for living expenses. $625 of that is for your rent or mortgage. And you also can participate in federal WorkStudy, but most of our students are able to borrow the maximum in unsubsidized loans to cover everything. Okay, here's the living expense budget, and as you can see, housing, like I said, was $625 a month. But if you do have a child, we can allow up to $925. And then there's food, utilities, transportation, and personal expenses, and that adds up to $1475 a month for a single student, or $2210 for a student that has a child. And you do have to provide a copy of your lease or mortgage statement by September 15th each year. Now, this is a maximum per loan type. The HBSL loan is a health profession student loan, and they do require parental income on the FAFSA for 2015. That's why the parent also needs a FSA ID so they can go into the FAFSA and do the IRS data retrieval and just download their tax information. But for this year, the amount will be $36.87 for each student that is eligible, and ECSI is the loan servicer for this loan. And then we also have the direct Stafford unsubsidized loan. This loan is from the federal government, and a first-year student can borrow up to $40,500 per year. And then we also have the Direct Graduate Plus loan. This is also a federal loan, and you can borrow up to your cost of attendance, and it is based on credit approval. So that's one thing that you need to, check your credit report and make sure there's nothing on there, that's adverse to your credit score. So the total budget will be around $50,650, and for non-regional and regional around $35,000. Now, if you need to borrow more, we can increase your budget. So there are certain expenses that we can add to your budget. So just make sure that you let us know if you have additional expenses that you need added to your budgets that you can borrow from. There are only certain items that can be included, and they must be documented in your file. So you do have to send us documentation of the expense with your name on it and how much it was, and that way if it's an allowable expense, we can add it to your budget, then you can borrow that money. But if it's not allowable, we won't be able to add that to your budget, and you will have to pay for those on your own. The main items that cannot be added are car payments, credit card payments, pet expenses, and that sort of thing.
And no weddings too, right, Cindy?
Yes, no weddings. Now we have several different types of aid at SCO. We have the health profession student loan, like I mentioned earlier. It has a 5% fixed interest rate, and the grace period is 12 months. It's not interest accruing until after your grace period is up, so no interest accrues while you're in school or for a whole year after you graduate. It is need-based, so it's based on your income and your parents' income. And like I said before, ECSI is the loan servicer. Now the federal direct unsubsidized loan, the interest rate is 5.31 currently, but it does change every July 1st, and you'll be updated once we hear what the rate will be. This one is unsubsidized, so interest begins accruing immediately all through school, and repayment is steadily accruing interest. The grace period on this loan is 6 months, so around November is when you'll start making payments after you graduate. And they also deduct an origination fee from each disbursement of 1.069. And the Federal Direct Grad Plus, that origination fee is 4.276%, so it's a lot higher. So this is sort of a loan that you want to try to stay away from if you can. It has a 6.31 fixed rate, no grace period, so payments start as soon as you graduate. It's credit worthy, and you may need an endorser if you do not have much credit established yet. Now we also offer federal work study. This is if you need a part-time job while you're in school. There are many jobs that are available, and you can work during your breaks in class or work on the weekends, and the pay is from $11 to $15 per hour. Most of the jobs are $11 an hour, but there are a few that are 12 or 15. And this is also need-based, so it's based on your income, but most of our students are eligible to do work study since most of them have not been working and were in school. You get paid monthly through direct deposit. And we also have a few community service positions that do pay $12 per hour, but these are off-campus tutoring positions. Now we have other aid available also for certain students. If you are a veteran, you can check into the GI Bill. Or if one of your parents is a veteran, there is a type of GI Bill that they can transfer to you. We have several service obligation programs like the military scholarships. They will pay full tuition, books, and monthly stipend. There's only a very few of those. So you can check with the Army, Air Force, and Navy on those scholarships. Arkansas loan is available to any Arkansas resident that receives a contract seat, and that is $5,000 a year, and it is forgivable if you go back to Arkansas to practice. And then North Carolina, they also have a forgiveness loan that is $14,000 a year, and you must be a North Carolina resident and have at least a 3.2 GPA. Now for the FAFSA, the information you'll need is the website, which is shown above. We have the school codes you'll need to put in so that we get a copy of it. Don't forget to include your parents' income if you're interested in the HBSL loan. You can use the IRS data retrieval tool to upload tax information to the FAFSA. And the total budget minus the EFC, which is expected family contribution, will equal the financial need, and that's the amount that you're eligible to borrow. The FAFSA will tell us what your EFC is, and it is usually 0 for most students. And if you were not born in the U.S., you will need to enter your alien registration number on the FAFSA to keep it from being rejected. So make sure you do that and let us know if you have any questions about anything to do with the FAFSA. Now, when will you receive your money? You will receive your award information via email. So once we have your FAFSA and all those other documents, we will get you awarded. We'll send you an email, and there's going to be a link to our student portal net partner that you will go to, and this is where you accept your loans, or you can reduce your loans, decline your loans, anything like that. And then once you have accepted and we finalize everything, we send the loan in to the Department of Education, and they process the loan, and funds will be sent to SCO 10 days before registration each semester. And once accounting has credited the funds to your account, they will be transmitted to your checking account on file, and this cannot be before the first day of each semester. So that is when you will receive money. You won't receive money before school starts. And we will send out a form, I believe, for you to get your checking account on file so that you can get the money in the account that you need it to be. Now what you need to know, number one, bring a copy of your Social Security card with you to Memphis. Many students leave it at home with their parents, and then if you decide to be a student worker, you have to get that card here because we have to have a copy of it in order for you to get paid. So just make sure you go ahead and bring a copy of your Social Security card. Also, you can check out NSLDS to see your loan balance on any federal loans and to find out the name of your servicer. If you have undergrad loans, those will be listed there. So that's something that you want to check out and get familiar with. And also, some apartments do require proof of income. They will accept your award letter as proof. Right now, we're awarding the 3rd and 4th year students because they begin school again in May. So the 1st year students usually get awarded around the end of April or 1st of May. So if you need to get an award letter before we've awarded you, you can call us and we'll get something for you to send to the apartment so that you can go ahead and sign a lease if you need to. And also check out the Net Partner student portal. You just log in with your Social Security number and then you request a password, and you can look and see what you may be missing, documents that we have received or not received, and if you've been awarded, you can see that. You can see your disbursements. You can see if you've accepted or declined or whatever. And so that's a website that you want to stay familiar with because that's where you can find out most of the information you'll need to know. Now the contact information is listed here. There's myself and 2 of our counselors that you can contact anytime, and we'll be glad, to talk with you. We usually answer emails the same day, so just keep in contact with us if you have any questions at all.
Well, thanks so much, Cindy, for the overview. So I'm going to get to some questions now. Before we do that, I think it might be a benefit to the attendees. Could you talk a little bit about just how the financial aid experience at SCO might be different from what they're used to on the undergraduate level? Because I think it is a bit of a unique situation here.
Yes, since we're a smaller school, we can see you right away. You don't have to get an appointment to see us. You can just walk in and you can see us. And since we're a single-purpose school, every student's optometry, every student's full-time, we automatically know. You know how much you're eligible for. So you really have quick service, faster than you would expect, from a college.
A student is interested when you were talking about the HPSL loan. If it's a non-traditional student who's a bit older, why do the parents' income need to be disclosed for that particular loan?
That loan is from the Department of Health and Human Services. It's not from the Department of Education, and they require that you submit your parents' income because they believe most parents are helping their students, their children, but that's not the fact. Most of the time for graduate school, usually in graduate school, your parents are letting you be on your own, to pay for everything. So that's just something that they require, but most of our students are eligible for the HPSL loan if they just submit the income information. And I mean, if your parents are very wealthy, you wouldn't be, but otherwise you should be eligible, but it is required.
So the unsubsidized loans that are accruing interest throughout the 4 years, are students sometimes kind of taking care of that interest while they're in school? Are there kind of some strategies to do that to make sure that you're not leaving school with a lot more than you borrowed originally?
Yes, some of our students we'll get their parents or grandparents to help them with some of the interest, because any interest that you pay off before you graduate saves you a great deal of money, because whenever you graduate, your loans are capitalized, which means the interest is added to the principal. So any of that interest that you can pay off before you graduate is very helpful.
Now, are there ways students can kind of take out the money piecemeal instead of all at the same time to kind of help with the interest?
Yes. Most of our students, you know, they may try to get all the money in the fall and then all the money in the spring the first month, but we're seeing where students are now just getting enough, you know, for that first month, and then coming in or emailing us each month to get the living expenses. That way you don't have as much interest accruing.
And how long does it typically take an SCO graduate to pay off their loans?
It's usually 10 years. Some can be extended for a little bit longer, but basically it's 10 years.
So if they extend it out longer, then it'd be more interest in the long run.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it looks like we have one more question. Someone was curious about the PLUS loans, and you said that you'd want to try to avoid those. But if the situation, if student needs more money, are there private alternatives to that PLUS loan that might be a better avenue if it's a situation where they really need more?
There are private loans available. Many times, if your credit is really good, you can get a lower interest rate than the Grad Plus. But since they are private loans, they're not going to have the same interest rate. You won't be able to consolidate them. So it's just something you need to think about and look over and see, you know, if that's the option you want to take.
Now, I know that no two students are the same, and everybody has different financial needs. But do you typically see a lot of people having to use the PLUS loans or private loans, or do most people able to do it with just the Stafford and the HBSL, et cetera?
More students are borrowing Grad Plus due to the Perkins loan program ending. So that is one of the reasons that it's increasing for the Grad Plus.
Okay. And a student is asking here, I think I can answer this, about the regional tuition. Is it the same for every state or is it different? It does differ by state. So, some states offer a little less in regional tuition, but if you want to get any of that detailed information, we do have it on our website under the tuition and fees section. So it gives a pretty accurate breakdown of all of our regional states and what the tuition is for each of those. So there are a few that are different. So if you are from one of those states, would behoove you to educate yourself on what those are. And with the regional seats too, I like to also mention that just being from a regional state does not guarantee you are offered regional tuition. Those states offer us only a handful of seats per state, and the number differs by state. So a state could tell us that, okay, we are giving you 5 regional seats, but then they can come back and say, well, it's only 4 this year. The state controls those funds. And the way that we award the regional seats, we do a rolling admissions basis, as you probably know, when we evaluate applications and give out acceptance offers. So the regional seats are offered on a rolling basis as well. They are merit-based, and they are offered to competitive applicants as those applications come in. So think of it kind of on the same lines as how we treat a scholarship. So we award those kind of along those same lines. But if you are not from a regional state, we kind of favor you in the endowed scholarship process. So aside from those regional seats, we do offer between 40 and 50 endowed scholarship awards each year. And as I just said before, we tend to favor those awards to students who are paying non-regional tuition because we think it's kind of a fairness thing. If a student is already paying reduced tuition, we think that that scholarship money is better served to a student who's paying the non-regional tuition. So I think that answers that question. I think we have a couple more here, and we'll get going. And the regional tuition, I think you wanted to know for Tennessee, again, just go to our tuition and fees section on the website. We do have a very accurate breakdown of that, but it is around $19,000 typically for Tennessee, but that number does fluctuate a little bit. So if you want the most accurate numbers, head on over to our website. I think that about wraps it up. Before we say goodbye, I just want to let everybody know here that, as always, this session is being recorded. So if you'd like to go back and listen to the session later, it will be on our website under sco.edu/online information sessions. Also, the archive of other webinars is posted, so there's a lot of great information on there, especially if you have a friend or a classmate that's not able to attend these. So I know they're normally during the day, but the archive is posted up there for your enjoyment and for your information. But I want to thank everybody for attending, and I want to thank Ms. Cindy Garner for giving up her time and giving that great overview of financial aid at SCO. Thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome.
See you, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.